high, maybe top 100 draft pick, right? So we're going into this. I'm gonna start it off with Oklahoma, my school. I think at plus 4,000 odds, I think that's gonna actually move up. And the reason I say that is because of how loaded the roster actually is, and I think a lot of it is based off of kind of what people don't really know. Yes, it's made by computers and models and things like that, but I think with the addition of Dominic Williams, getting him to not only play with the Jaden Jacksons, the David Stones of the worlds, the Dejon Terrys, the Sears. We have like 4 or 5 guys over 300 pounds. Ashton Sanders could hit 305 as well when the season starts off. So we're going to have multiple guys rotating. Brent Venables finally has the pieces to run his defense the way he wants to run it. I'm talking about extremely complex NFL level defense, multiple at all positions. You're going to have Kendall Dolby, one of the best slot corners in the country at the cheetah position. And you got plethora of options is there as well with young players like Peyton Bowen, 5-star safety out of Denton Guyer, Texas. You got great safety play. Robert Spears Jennings, an enforcer, a thumper at safety. You also got Billy Bowman, who is a little undersized, but just a playmaking safety. He had 6 picks last year, returned 3 for touchdowns. I thought he should have won the Thorpe. They gave it to some guy out of Air Force, which, not going to go into depth about that, but I should have won the Thorpe. And then, you're able to bring, key veteran players. You bring back a corner that is pretty old, Woody Washington, going into his 6th year, but he's going to have the versatility to move inside the cheetah, to move in, to play safety, to play that corner spot. We need to put 6 DBs out on the field. We have the depth to do that, right? We got the Kenai Walker, 6'2", DB. Very, very lengthy DB. You got Jacoby Johnson, who I think will be a first-round NFL corner. 6'3" kid, redshirt freshman, 4'4" guy, super athletic out of Mustang, Oklahoma, right? So you got a great secondary. Defensive line's good. You got edge rushers. PJ, yeah, exactly. You got PJ Adebare. You got R. Mason Thomas. You got Ethan Downs. There's a lot of Oklahoma fans who are indifferent about Ethan Downs, but he's a back-to-back second-team All Big 12 player. Very, very solid player. He might not be the most productive at getting at the quarterback at defensive end, but he sets the tone in the run game, and he's a great, I would say, first and second down player. That's why you have multiple players that come in. You bring in packages to rush the passer and things like that. And Brent stunts the defensive line well, and he's very aggressive. He's an attack-minded defensive coordinator. And you obviously have Danny Stutzman. The scheme is super hard to learn, but having a linebacker going into his 3rd year in the system, who is a stud, and you bring in people like Kip Lewis, who emerged as a late, bring in Kip Lewis, who emerged as a starter late in the season, and then you have just loaded young linebackers behind him. Even Jarrett Kanik, even with him losing his job, still very, very talented. The motor's there, the athletic ability is there. It's just more so the game's slowing down for him. You got Kip Lewis, or you got Lewis Carter. That dude is an enforcer, very, very physical linebacker. You moved Deshaun McCullough from cheetah into the will position. So you got a loaded defense. They're 3 deep at all positions on the defense, especially with Dominic Williams coming in. And now you go to the offensive side of the ball. And I think this is where people think kind of where the struggles would be and present themselves for Oklahoma. But you got, obviously, Jackson Arnold, highly touted, 5-star quarterback. He's just young, needs to get the games under him. And I think he'll be fine, especially the way he's been progressing, what I saw in the spring game, things like that. The wide receiver room is loaded. You got Nick Anderson, had 11 or 12 touchdowns last year. Wasn't even the go-to guy until week 6 or 7. You have Andrew Anthony, loaded, or he had 500 yards before he tore his ACL against Texas. Jalil Farouk, been around the block for a while. This is going to be his 4th year playing, but he's a veteran presence, very, very clutch wide receiver. You add in a guy like Deion Burks, who's super electric at Purdue. He's going to play that slot position that Drake Stoops played last year, but he is... Not only is Deion Burks better than Drake Stoops, he looks to be like a potential day one NFL receiver. The way he's able to.
That's what y'all got him for.
Yeah, that's what we got him for. And then you have Jaden Gibson, a kid I really like, who is gonna. It's when you're just loaded at receiver, it's hard to get your way on the field. You got people like Gavin Freeman transferring out, who I thought was solid. But he's not a scrub is what I'm going to say. And you got players like that transferring out because the receiver room is so deep, right? So you got that offensive line. Trust me, I trust Bill. Right? He is, if not the best offensive line coach, the 2nd best offensive line coach in the entire country. You got a guy that knows how to develop offensive linemen, Now the problem is getting them to gel. I think we've had some injuries in spring and things like that that cause them to not look as good.
It's the youth and it's the youth and the unprovenness on the offensive side, which is why Oklahoma's at that 7.5, where their odds are where
and
they're
you
at.
got like and you got like new OC, you got like Seth Luttrell who was the analyst
unanswered
and things like
questions.
that. So it's like uncertainty. Then the schedule. We're gonna go through the schedules. I have Texas's pulled up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I want Shoney to go through Texas's, and then I'll go through Oklahoma.
And I wanted to kind of we'll run through it really quickly.
Yeah.
But both of us give the wins and losses on both teams.
Okay.
That way you get a taste of the bias side and the very opposite of bias of the other
Okay.
side. So start with Texas.